Damn, Perk did this?
I don't need no one to save me. I was born to be the greatest. All that time in that basement, all that time isn't wasted. Rapping getting faded. I just wanna tell my mom that I made it. Just wanna be the topic of the conversation. Used to rock the gold plated. Now I'm wearing gold chains like I'm famous.
And for those who don't know, and I believe a lot of y'all know, I travel to Colombia very frequently. Colombia is a place that I love, and I have my place there. So this, when I heard what happened, this kind of it really just kind of hit me hard, right? And I really started to think, how could a situation like this happen? Or rather, why do situations like this happen? And I've come to realize that with situations like this that happen, can they be avoided? What are some of the steps that we as a society can we take? Right? And one of the most important things that I talk about that's important for everybody, men and women alike. But for this particular topic, I'm going to focus on the men here. Your mental health is extremely important. So again, you see the title, you see the thumbnail. So let me get into the story. So the story is, what happened is, you have an American man. He was dating a Colombian woman. This particular Colombian woman, very beautiful. She was a DJ, and I think maybe she did some modeling or something like that on the side, but I know for certain that she's a DJ. So she meets this guy, they get into a relationship, and this guy is extremely jealous, where to the point that they were inebriated one night, and they were hanging out. I guess they were in an Uber or InDriver, what you call it. And so in these vehicles, you hit a button where it sends out like a distress signal. So the woman sent out a distress signal, and the driver asked her, is she okay? So she said, yes, she's fine. No issue. So the driver probably didn't really think much of it, because her and her boyfriend at the time, they both were intoxicated, right? So shortly after that, they ended up finding her body, I think like a block or two away from the airport in Bogota, Colombia. And they found out that that this guy deleted her, and he strangled her. This is one of those things where, can mental health fix everything? No, it can't fix everything, but it's definitely a good start, right? This guy was possessive. He was controlling, and apparently he also was abusive. In relationships, whether they are romantic, friendships, co-workers, with family, doesn't matter. There's always going to be stressors and things that are going to stress you out. You have to seek mental health. You have to take care of your mental health. Let me say that. It's extremely important to avoid situations like this, right? A few weeks ago, maybe it was about a month ago, I'm not sure who all remembers, but there was a television show that used to come on when I was younger. It used to be called Power Rangers. And in the show Power Rangers, very popular show. And so one of the main characters, he ended up deleting himself, right? And just a very, very sad story. With this gentleman, he had issues with his wife, and he had children with her, and I believe it was some sort of a custody dispute or some sort. And now the kids no longer have a father. I don't know what the situation is with the mom, but if you don't take care of these things, what I'm saying is that a domino effect tends to happen. So, how can we get there early? What are the steps that we, especially as men, can take to make sure that we are better in ourselves? How can we do that? What are some of the steps? Well, one of the first steps is you have to realize as a man, something is amiss here. You have to be able to, as a man, look yourself in the mirror and say, something is not right, and I need to take care of the problem. As men, we know that with society, we are held more accountable, and as we should be. I have absolutely no problem with that. With the situation with this young lady and this guy, things definitely could have been avoided. If he thought that she was having other relations with other guys, she wasn't being faithful, move on. You have to move on. There's 7 billion people, 8 billion people, something like that. But long story short, if the situation isn't working out, move on. So, as I mentioned earlier with the domino effect, so now her family has taken a loss. And regardless of how anyone feels about him, his family has taken a loss. So now he can't come home. He's in jail for the rest of his life. She lost her life. All because he did not want to seek help or take the proper steps to seek help. This is one of those unfortunate things. I mean, and it happens in our society. I remember last year, I want to say it was last year, and there was a guy, I believe he was having some custody dispute with his ex-wife. Some of you all may remember this. He was having a custody dispute with his ex-wife, right? And so he actually did a video on Instagram telling people what he was about to do. And in this video, he says that I'm about to delete my wife, my children, and then delete myself. So this is one of those things where it's so the whole family is ruined. I'm not saying that I don't know what happened in that situation, but what I do know is that the end result is that that family is no longer gone. Her parents miss her. His parents miss him. The grandparents miss the kids. Proper steps need to be taken in place so that these situations can be avoided, or at least try to be avoided as much as possible. In society, we need to really start focusing on our mental health. Our mental health is so important. I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress that enough. You have to take the proper steps. And don't be embarrassed about it. Shoot, I took a 2-week hiatus. I had to get my mental health in order. It is what it is. I'm man enough to admit that. And there's no problem with that. I had to get myself together. In society, things happen. We're human. Right? Stress is a part of everyday life, one way or another. Whether it be your wife, your girlfriend, your job, your child or children, your co-workers, people you see on the street. If you commute to work, somebody done cut you off, came into your lane. You mad now. You all mad. All I'm saying is that things happen in our everyday life, and we need to take the steps. We need to take the proper steps. Appreciate you. Yeah, just kind of going back into what I was saying, right? Like it's one of those things where, just kind of going back to what V said, right? Like have like a mental health plan. Like, when you go to the doctor and you get like your yearly physical or checkup, you just want to make sure that everything is good, right? You know what I mean? Or like for those I know who live in the Northeast, like every year you have to get your car inspected. And like even if your car is running fine, like you just want to make sure that everything is in working order. And that's really that's really what it is like with mental health. You want to make sure that everything is in working order. Like I knew that like even when I took that 2-week hiatus, like I knew that everything wasn't fine and I wasn't, I was nowhere near what this guy was on. But like I still needed to have that conversation because I was losing a lot of people who I was close with, and they were just, passing, and it was like every day or every, like every other day. And it was just hitting me all at once. And I said, you know what? I got to take a break and I got to take care of myself. So this way I could be a better man, a better father, and, all trickles down, better, better content creator, so on and so forth. Right. And that's the thing. Like, we got to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, nothing to be ashamed about. It's extremely important. And don't think that you weak or you vulnerable or anything like that, because if someone says that, then that's a bunch of BS. Because that could be further from the truth. Because I could tell you this much: the most, like, if we talk about high caliber, high value, whatever, like those men, I'm telling you, those men have taken care of their mental health. You see them physical health and all that, they got the money and whatever, but I'm telling you, they have taken care of their mental health. Because you could have all of these things in the world, the best house, most money, best looking woman, all of that. If you don't have this up here in check, trust me, you will crumble. You will crumble. Let me get back. Your woman should not be your main focus. Your purpose is your main focus. Focus on what you're purposeful on. Focus on building your mental health, your physical strength, your finances, becoming a better leader, becoming a better listener, becoming a better communicator. The woman will always be there. They will always be there. As long as you're working on yourself, the woman will always be there. But you start chasing behind a woman, it's going to get dark and lonely. Men need to fix a lot of things, especially that we are the leaders. Absolutely. But I get men that want to keep pointing the finger at the woman before check themselves as the leader first. No, you gotta hold that mirror up. You gotta hold that mirror up and look in your reflection and see, okay, what is it that I can do better? What is it that I can do better as a man? What is it that I can do better? Because at the end of the day, we need to hold ourselves accountable first. We could hold the woman accountable, sure, but we as men need to hold ourselves accountable first. If we're not doing that, then there's nothing to talk about. You can say, oh, well, she did this, she did that, but what are you doing first? What are you doing first? That's the problem. If you are not checking yourself first, you can't sit up there and try to check her. That's not going to work, fam. Not in my book. You got to make sure that you're taking care of your business as a man first. And if you're not doing that, then you can't say nothing to her, bro. It's not going to work. The Way to Superior Man. Y'all got to read this and you will understand how if men change, the woman will slowly follow. Some women are too far gone. Yeah. Well, again, I agree with that. Some women are too far gone. And if they're too far gone, then leave. You have options. And if you don't have options, then you need to build yourself up to the point where you do have options. That's it. End of story, man. End of story.